Attention family, I want to share some things that I'm grieving about and had some final things that I want to kind of talk to you all about in regards to I buried my mother on yesterday, but I had a very heavy heart in this process. It's time to call out pastors. My mother spent 43 years at Pleasant Grove Missionary Baptist Church. It was originally under C.L. Jackson. Now it's under the leadership of his son, Shelton Jackson, Dr. Shelton Jackson. And my mama well, first of all, let me say this grieves me to even be able to do this. This was nothing that I'm excited about doing, but I'm so tired of preachers and pastors taking advantage of people, the community, what church is all about. Now, let me start off telling you that my mama put in 43 years of service to this particular church. You know the Dome Church that was in Fifth Ward that now has been demolished, and now they're having services over there on Weaver Road, because of whatever financial issues they may have. But I understand why now. What happened was, my mother passed away on last Thursday. And so I was told to bury my mother initially by the executive secretary that we was going to have to come up with $1,100. Now, in my mind, I know the commitment that my mom had to this church. $300 times 43 years, that is exactly $154,800. Now, we're not going to include the building fund. We're not going to include the love offering, all those things like that. I was told, hey, you got to come up with $1,100 for your mother's funeral. Me being a man of principle, yeah, I can pay it, but wait a minute, are you serious? My mama put in this type of work for you to go and say, hey, we have to pay y'all because you all are renting a church? We have nothing to do with that. So, and then I was told by the executive secretary, well, listen, choose another day. I chose Wednesday, a day that they had the church. Understand they use their other people's church from Wednesday and Sunday. So I said, well, let's choose Wednesday. I was told at that point, hey, you're going to have to pay $400 for security. I'm saying in my mind, are you serious? You're going to charge my mother, who didn't put in right at $200,000 in your ministry? Where's sowing and reaping? Does this only mean when members are sowing into your congregation and you're buying Armani suits? You're buying alligator shoes. You're riding in Bentleys and Lexuses. You're going to Steak 48 and Fogo de Chao. Does this only apply with that? Well, I said, well, you know what? Hey, I'm not doing it. I'm going to bury my mama at McDuffie Funeral Home where we buried my father. They have a chapel that we can utilize. Guess what I was told? Well, listen, Sean, you have to come up with $400 for security. Now, I'm outraged. But I remain respectful because these are people that I grew up with in that church. I spent my years there as a youngster as well, that I was even told that. Are you serious? I had to come up with $400 for security at a whole nother facility to bury my mother. Now, my family, they were living. We're mad as hell. It ain't about the money. It's about now principle, moral ethics, code, and just the whole doggone having character. So in other words, you're telling me you don't give a damn about my mother. You don't give a damn about the finances and the leadership and all the things she's given to your church. Now, watch this. Got on the phone, talked with the pastor 3 times, being respectful because of his man of the cloth, being respectful because I know my mama would want me to. And I was told, hey, listen, you have to come up with $400 for security. I said, well, listen, we're not going to be able to come up with $400 for security. We're not going to be able to do it. Then I was told, well, you got a couple of days. I'm sure you can come up with it. I said, are you kidding me? Me come up with $400? Again, the 400 is not the issue. Then I was told, so in other words, Pastor Sheldon Jackson, you mean to tell me if I don't come up with the $400, I have to make other arrangements for someone else to preach my mother's funeral? Well, yeah, you're gonna have to come up with the $400. I said, you know what, Pastor? Hold on what you got. Matter of fact, don't say nothing else. Listen, we gonna take care of it. We gonna handle it. And peace to you, brother. And I hung up the phone. Now, we had members of that church who had known that my mama had labored for so many years. They volunteered to pay the $400. Oh, no. I told them, we're not doing it. Absolutely not. I wish I would allow a man to preach over my mama's funeral who was going to ask her to pay for a service that she put into for 43 years. I want y'all to let that sink in for a minute. So what we got to do, people, listen to me. We got to start calling out these pastors and preachers that are playing games with the community. The church is supposed to be a place for the people, not these pastors and preachers that are going around. They got the best suits on. They got the biggest diamonds. Their wives got the biggest diamonds. They going to Colombia on our money. They going to Dubai on our money and not servicing the people. Now, again, it bothered me to do this, but I have to do this. I don't want somebody else to go through the same issues and problems I went through with this. We was upset. However, I know many ministers. I know many pastors. I want to give a shout out to several ones that stepped in and took care of my mama's funeral. It was exciting. It was nice. It went well. But I am sick and tired of these pastors playing games with the people's money. And mind you, family, they had the audacity to put my mother's picture on their website, pleasantgroveway.com, and say, pray for the family. We ain't need your prayers. We need you to show that commitment that she showed you guys and have her funeral. That's what we needed you to do. We ain't need your money. We needed you to handle your business like we handled our business. Also, I want to add that when we were getting the obituary together, now this is my mother, okay? The Geraldine W. Jones. Anybody that know her know that she was a very hard laborer. But we were putting the obituary together, and my daughter was putting it together. My wife was putting it together. So the executive secretary said, okay, well, this is how, obituaries can go as well. So she emailed me the obituary. So my wife and my daughter went over it, revised it, put a few things in and took a few things out. And we submitted it back to them while we was at the funeral home. Check this out. So the executive secretary gonna call, blasting me on the phone. Mind you, anybody that knows me, I don't really get out of there and let people just handle me in that kind of way. But she blasted us on the phone and told us, oh no, that ain't the way we do things. We got to do it this way. We do it that way. Got mad, hung up the phone. Pastor called back. Oh yeah, this is how we got to do things. We got to do that, do this, do that. And again, I kept going back to, okay, cool, Pastor, whatever you say. But let's get back to this $400. Who's going to pay that $400? I'm not paying it. And again, the results we came to. They chose not to do it, chose they were not going to give the funeral, and that's what we were left with. Now, I want to say to you this. Let's stop patronizing these churches that don't give a damn about you. Anybody, and I've talked to several preachers and pastors about this. They're telling me, hey, man, there's no way I wouldn't have buried your mother. There's no way who had made that kind of commitment to us for 43 years. However, Sheldon Jackson did. Dr. Sheldon Jackson, he decided he didn't want to bury my mother, didn't want to preach her funeral. So I'm just saying we've got to eliminate that foolishness. I want to call these people out. Right now, they on, I think, 6900 Weaver Road, renting out a church. And I can see why their finances are allowing them to do that, because they're playing with y'all money. You got to do something about it, people. I want you to like, comment, and share. And I'm going to call this theme, Calling Pastors Out. I appreciate you for listening to me. Let me know what you think about it.